for like what is for us the 15th time. I don't know if you guys are watching for the first time or not. We're gonna very quickly go over our pregame show, but we've had every problem that could go wrong today go wrong. We've been at 3 locations to go live, and it just will not work. And Andre and I both hope that it's not an indication of what's going to happen on the field today. But we hope that what you see through this cell phone broadcast here, that we still are committed to bringing you guys content for this team no matter what kind of obstacles we have. So I'm going to hand the phone to Andre for a second as I go over my notes, and then we're going to give you the quickest, I forget the guy off ESPN, Berman, that would do like fastest 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be something like that.
The quickest 2 minutes of your life,
Yeah.
right?
So do you want to actually do the inactives?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So I'll go ahead and take the phone, and let me move over to my computer here because I have it loaded up and ready to go. So let's take a look at the inactives for today's game. So we have running back Raheem Blackshear, wide receiver Jonathan Mingo, safety Xavier Woods, cornerback Sam Webb, Deion Jones, and offensive tackle David Sharp are going to be your 6 inactives for today's game against the Minnesota Vikings. So that means that we're going to have C.J. Henderson out there, and that also means we're going to have, well, I'm blanking on somebody. There's somebody else, Frankie Luvu. Frankie Luvu is also going to be out there for today's game. 2 guys who are questionable coming into this game that will be in there, and don't forget Miles Sanders as well, a big piece of what they're going to do today as well, as I hand it back over to you, Chris.
See how we make this happen? It's professionalism at its finest right here. So all the comments that are coming through, you guys probably can't hear us the greatest in the world. I apologize, but we're going to get you this content. So a few transactions that have happened. We elevated cornerback DiCaprio Boodle.
That's a name.
Up from the practice squad to help out with some of the injuries, if you will, that we've been dealing with. So I think you got the last week. You want to go over the last week's stuff?
Let's do it.
All right, I'm going to hand this phone back.
So this matchup today is one of 2 matchups. A little higher? Okay. Got to get used to this, right? On the fly. But yeah, 2 teams today that are 0-3. Carolina returning back home to Bank of America Stadium after falling to Seattle by a score of 37-27. Minnesota themselves are not in the best of circumstances as they fell to the Los Angeles Chargers 28-24. So both teams are in position right now where they desperately need a win today to get their season back in line and on track. All time, this will mark the 17th matchup between the 2 teams, with Minnesota leading the series 10-6. At home here at Bank of America Stadium, the series is tied at 3 games apiece. So it'll be interesting to see how both teams respond coming out in this game to, for one, having 0-3 starts. How are they going to start, and how are they going to solidify themselves throughout the game? We'll see how that goes as I turn it over back to my man Chris, as he's going to go over a couple of things that were said throughout the week.
Yeah, so hey, we got 12 people on. We got 3 thumbs up, so I appreciate that very much. So this is going to be extremely abbreviated because this part of the show is going to be showing you clips of video footage from talking to players and coaches all week that I can't show you on my cell phone. So part of that was just Frank Reich talking about this Minnesota Vikings team. Say they play like a dangerous team, and for the most part what he's saying with that, this defense for the Minnesota Vikings play extremely aggressive, and they do things that out of formations that you really wouldn't expect. So it's going to test the line a lot. It's going to test the offense a lot. Everybody's going to be tested. And the key will be making sure that Carolina is prepared for those and can take advantage of some of those blitzes and unconventional things that they may go to do on defense. Coach Thomas Brown talked about the same thing of how they do a lot of blitzes that are really not typical, not standard, if you will, out of formations, that they're just going to have to be prepared for offensively. And Bryce Young, according to Thomas Brown, had his best practice of the week earlier this week. And again, because it's a shorter show, I think that's a good thing. You know, people talk about, I forget the exact word, was it his urgency that he talked about?
Sense of urgency.
His sense of, well, Thomas Brown talked about the command of the offense, and Bryce just coming into practice and giving more direction to the wide receivers and things like that. And I feel like some of that is like, oh my gosh, Bryce needs to talk. He's been way too quiet. My take from that was just, if you're great and you're the quarterback, that's the franchise quarterback, somebody took control of your team last week and they did better than you, you're not just going to sit there and be stubborn and say, oh, I'm just going to stay me. Whatever, like if you're trying to be great, whatever it is that you see somebody doing that can help you be better, you're going to start to do it. So I applaud Bryce. He's now, like I still want him to be him, as Coach says, but if it's in him to be a little bit more grabbing guys and doing things to bring this team up, then I'm all for it. And I don't think it's like, hey, you should have told Bryce to act differently sooner, because you just don't know. But other than that, I'm going to go over. We're going to skip that next section.
Okay.
And I'm just going to go and tell you guys about some top 10 rankings that we have. On the offensive side, rushing yards per attempt, we are currently 7th in the league, allowing 4.6 rushing yards per attempt. A little bit of surprise, because last week we did not do too well. Miles Sanders has actually been going backwards in his rushing yards per attempt each week, but hopefully he can get back on the right track for that. And then, by the way, some comments are coming. I appreciate it, but we're doing this like as rigging of a live broadcast as we can do, so I just can't go through the normal show. Defensively, we got 3 top 10 rankings. Passing net yards per game, we're good for 9th in the league with 192. Sacks, we're tied for the 7th in the league with 10. And third down efficiency, we are tied for 5th with 30%. So what up, Mark Burks from New York? Appreciate you tuning in.
All right.
You ready?
Let's do it. So let's take a look at the notable connections for today's game. The big one, Adam Thielen, who used to play for Minnesota, is now with us. So we'll take what we can get there. He used to play for them for 9 seasons up until this upcoming season here. And Xavier Woods, who of course won't be in today's game. He played with Minnesota back in 2021 for a season with them. So definitely 2 big pieces of the Panthers. Used to play for Minnesota and now are here. So this is a big game for Adam Thielen, and kind of just one of those things that we want to watch for. How does he respond after having probably his best game in a couple of years, for that matter, last week? How does he respond again today, playing against his former team? It's a big, big game for him. A game that he had circled on the calendar for sure. So we'll see how early and often he's going to be involved in the offense today. So Chris, I guess after that.
Yeah, so that's basically going to wrap us up. I'm going to see if there's a question on here that I can get, or if you all have one that you want to send through, and I'll try to answer it. Again, big problems today with the broadcast. We've been trying to go live for literally 40 minutes and just decided to go live from my phone. We got to run in now to the press box. And when we do, this guy right here,
you know it.
We're going to keep you up to date on Twitter about all the game action. We're going to be posting some great photos from our field photographer, Patrick Sider, who's probably already out there sending us pictures. And then we will absolutely be live, win or lose, post-game. And it's not in the description in this video, but we're still going to give away Panthers merchandise each and every week, just to help everybody have a little bit of fun out there. So let me see if there's one comment that I can comment on. Leonard says the audio's good. So look, Mark Burke says, appreciate y'all for the comment. We're trying. I can promise you the post-game show. I can't promise. I won't even do that. I can promise you that we're going to do whatever we can.
We're going to make the effort.
Yes.
We are definitely going to make the effort.
I don't know. I sincerely apologize. But here's one thing I'll talk about for today is in terms of what do I expect from this game today, I think it's going to be a good game. One thing to be aware of is though both of these teams are 0-3, they're not 0-3 because they've been getting their butts whooped. And I know Panthers fans may feel differently just because we haven't won a game. But the Carolina Panthers haven't been getting their butt kicked. We haven't been drugged up and down the field. And the Minnesota Vikings, pretty similar. They've been putting up higher points. Their quarterback has been pretty successful, having nearly 350 yards per game throwing. Matchup to watch will be Dante Jackson and Justin Jefferson. He's putting up 149 plus, I think, each of his past 3 games. So it's a lot of good stuff for both of these teams where they're just off. So I don't see this as being a boring game. And, you know, we'll see. So I'll give it over to Andre, let him wrap on up.
Yeah, so like Chris said, both teams are 0-3, but they're 0-3 in their own unique ways. Minnesota is definitely a team that kind of surprised me in terms of where their record stands. Carolina is in a very developmental stage right now in the season, so look for it to be a close game, a pretty even matchup, and hopefully it will end in a Carolina victory today. So for everybody here, for the Charlotte Vibe, for our makeshift live broadcast that we have here for our pregame show, for the man of the people, Chris Jenkins, I'm Andre Cassidy. Stay tuned. Got you covered here on Instagram and Twitter, and we will be going live immediately, therefore, after the game today. So be on the lookout for that. Everybody, have a good one. Enjoy the game today.